Hello, SpeakUp Talks. My name's Travis, and today I'm joined by Jason Phillipson, Product Marketing Manager here at SpeakUp. How are you doing?
Good, good. How are you doing, Travis?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So recently you were at SCCE Berlin, and I thought it'd be great just to kind of get, for the people who weren't there, just to get an idea, the impression of what the event was like and kind of what key highlights you noticed while you were there. But maybe you could first just start off by just kind of giving us your initial impression of kind of the event and how it went with you, how it felt.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I think, yeah, I feel sorry for the people who weren't there. It was a great event just to start it off that way. I think, I was fortunate enough to also be in Nashville last year for SCC event there,
Hmm.
um, which I loved. I think, just bringing people together. But once again, having it in Europe, which I think is one of the larger events that we have for compliance and ethics, is
Yeah.
really great. So this year being in Berlin, but it was cool to see that different people from all around Europe, but also people from out America came over. So it was very much a global event to bring different
Hmm.
people together from different industries, different company sizes, experiences, and I think that's the beauty of things like that is that we're able to sort of find that common ground, share and really learn from each other. So, yeah, no, great event.
Well, speaking of learnings, could you maybe take me through a few of the highlights you noticed at this event in Berlin?
Yeah, no, I think there was a couple of things that stood out for me. First and foremost, which won't come as a surprise to anyone, was AI. I think it's very much a staple at any event right now, rightfully so. But it is cool to see that that conversation has shifted. It's already shifted a long time ago. So we're really getting more into the weeds. People want practical tangible things that they can actually
Hmm.
take away with them and implement tomorrow. So we're getting away from should we use it, can we use it, and we're getting it more into how can I use it and what is the best way that works for me, my team, and my organization. So that's one that's really cool. I think a second one is also the culture aspect. That was a topic that came up quite a bit. I think that's it goes both ways, right? What is the impact of compliance and ethics on company
Yeah.
culture, but then also what is the impact from culture on ethics and compliance? So I think
Hmm.
one there, for example, that stood out to me was there was a presentation about the role of Gen Z in in compliance. So how can we
Yeah.
leverage that? How can we use that? How are different cultures, different generations, how are they different? What are the expectations around ethics and compliance? And how do they value that? And how can compliance officers and ethics teams really leverage that to get the
Hmm.
most out of their program? So I think it's cool to see that culture continues to be a big topic, and how do the different components and the tools and the programs and processes contribute to that.
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, really important one. And I think lastly, one that also is not a new one but does continue to come up is the collaboration across teams. So
Yeah.
namely compliance and legal, but also HR. We have different viewpoints, different ways of approaching things, all trying to
Hmm.
achieve the same goal. So how can we solidify that? How can we help each other best? How can we manage those expectations? That's a topic that continues to come up across the board, across training, across the policy management, across your whistleblowing
Definitely.
programs. So yeah, I think those three for me were very prominent at this event and important topics, in my opinion.
That's great. I mean, I think obviously we were present at SCC Berlin. Not only did we have a booth there, but also, as you mentioned, our General Counsel Robert was presenting on this particular topic.
Yeah, yeah.
Just in terms of the conversations you had on the floor with people, is there any like insights around AIs? Obviously, SpeakUp has a lot of AI capabilities.
Mhm.
Any particular kind of points there that you might be interesting to share?
Yeah, for sure. No, so I think great conversations. People do enjoy, coming and having those conversations, the same way that we obviously very much love these conversations. So it was
Hmm.
interesting to hear, some of the things that come up. Future proofing is a big one. And I think that's
Yeah.
sort of where AI plays a role. So how do you, make sure that you've got a tool and a process that allows you to scale effectively? AI is doing a lot of the work there, but it's also about the role of technology. And I think that's really where you're starting to see, the value of technology has heightened, and people
Yeah.
really, find that important, and people also coming a little bit more with clarity as to what they expect. So
Mhm.
we're not getting in these conversations of, I don't know what I want. The conversations very quickly of, hey, I expect this. How can you help me? Which is, I think, is a really cool thing. We're getting more into the customizable, flexible aspect of the tool so that they can adapt it to their processes, to their organizations. I think also, coming back to what I was saying earlier about the different cultures and different generations that we have, how does your tool and your system and your technology support that best rather than, you know, trying to sort of pull that into a system.
Mhm.
So, yeah, some great conversations and a lot of clarity as to what people expect and want.
Yeah, lovely. And this may be a bit of a difficult question, but if you compare it to your experience in visiting SCCE in Nashville, I think what, 8 months, 9 months ago, compared to Berlin, obviously different audience, different crowd, but in terms of kind of the questions, maybe the maturity of AI and compliance, have you seen any shift there that's worth mentioning?
I think yes, absolutely. Still think there was a little bit more, prominence around, you should use AI, and
Yeah,
AI is not something to be scared of. I wouldn't say that's completely disappeared. Of course, we're still wary of what's the best way to implement it, but we are getting a lot more, yeah, deeper into it, as I said earlier. So even within such a short time span,
yeah.
people are more willing. The tools themselves have also evolved immensely. So yeah, it's changing rapidly, and it will continue to change rapidly.
Great. Well, thanks for the recap, Jason. Really appreciate it. And I think we'll look forward to the next one. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.